Some women don't react when you give them attention, but the moment you stop talking to them, everything changes. And here's the part most men never see coming. A woman will often show you her real feelings only after your silence forces her to face herself. That silence creates a shift inside her, and suddenly she's thinking about you in ways she never did when you were available. This is the part of female psychology that most men misunderstand, and it's why so many guys end up chasing women who would have chased them if they had simply pulled back. Before we get into anything, let's make this clear. This topic isn't about playing games. It's about understanding what your absence does to a woman who thought she had you figured out. When a man stops talking to a woman, especially one who was used to having his attention, something real happens. She is forced to confront the gap you leave behind. She starts noticing the quiet. She starts thinking about what you used to give her. And most importantly, she begins to feel what life is like without your presence in it. Men don't realize how powerful their silence can be. When you stop talking to a woman, it exposes the truth of the connection. Was she really invested? Or was she just enjoying the attention? Did she actually care? Or did she only respond when she felt she might lose something? Your silence answers those questions faster than anything you could ever say. And that's what we're diving into today. What a woman will actually do when you stop talking to her. Not the theories, not the clichés, but the real psychological shifts she goes through when your presence disappears. So if you're ready to understand this from a deeper, more honest perspective, as a man who wants clarity, not confusion, welcome to the channel. Here, we break down female behavior in a way that finally makes sense, without the fluff or fake positivity. Today's topic is one every man needs to hear, because silence doesn't just reveal the truth, it exposes her intentions, her feelings, and her real level of interest. 1. When your silence hits her ego. When you stop talking to a woman, the very first place it hits is her ego. Not her heart, not her emotions, not her feelings. Her ego. This is the part of her that was comfortable with your attention, used to your presence, and confident that you would always be available. When that suddenly disappears, the silence disrupts the comfort she built around your consistency. Even if she did not fully appreciate you, she still noticed the pattern you created, your messages, your check-ins, your presence. When those vanish, it forces her to confront something she rarely thinks about. The possibility that she may not be as important to you as she assumed. Imagine this. You are talking to a woman regularly. She enjoys the attention, but never really gives you much effort in return. She replies when she feels like it. She keeps the energy low, and she acts like she has all the time in the world. But the moment you pull back and stop talking, something shifts inside her. She opens her phone and realizes your name is not showing up anymore. That small routine she took for granted is suddenly gone. At first, she might pretend she does not care, but silence grows louder the longer it lasts. She starts checking her messages more often. She wonders why you have not said anything. She tries to convince herself it is nothing, but her ego is now reacting before her emotions even catch up. Your silence challenges how she saw herself in the dynamic. When a woman believes she is in control, she becomes comfortable. When her control is challenged, she starts paying attention. That attention is not based on missing you yet. It is based on wondering what changed. She wants to know why you stopped. She wants to know if you are talking to someone else. She wants to know if she misread the situation. These thoughts hit her fast, because women are extremely sensitive to losing attention they were certain they controlled. This is why silence is powerful. It disrupts her expectations. It exposes her assumptions. It forces her to look at the role she played and the effort she did not give. A woman who once felt unbothered can quickly become unsettled when the energy she counted on disappears. When your silence hits her ego, she begins to realize something she did not consider. You are not a guaranteed presence in her life. You are not a man who will chase endlessly. You are someone who can walk away. And that realization creates the first spark of awareness that something is different. Something she cannot control. Something she now has to think about. 2. The moment she realizes you're not chasing. When a woman realizes you have stopped chasing her, something changes in the way she sees both you and the situation. At first, she might not admit it to herself. She might act normal, she might stay quiet, or she might pretend she has not noticed. But trust this. Women always notice when a man pulls back. They feel it immediately because attention is emotional currency to them. When it stops, they feel the shift, even if they do not talk about it. This moment is important because it forces her to reevaluate everything she believed about you. She begins to look at your behavior differently. She starts thinking about the way you used to reach out, how consistent you were, how available you seemed, and how comfortable she became with that pattern. When that pattern disappears, she has to confront the fact that she may have misjudged your intentions or your level of interest. She expected you to keep trying, to keep reaching out, to keep proving yourself. When you do not, she feels a pull she cannot ignore. This is where self-reflection begins for her. She starts asking questions in her mind. Did she push too far? Did she play too many games? Was she too cold or too dismissive? Did she underestimate you? These thoughts do not come from missing you emotionally yet. They come from noticing a shift in power. She no longer feels in control of how things are moving. Your silence shows her that you are not dependent on her reactions. You are not waiting on her approval. You are not stuck in a position where you need validation from her. When a man stops chasing a woman, it creates space. Space for her to feel the absence. Space for her to think about what she contributed. Space for her to see the situation from a different angle. Most men never stop long enough to give her that space. They chase until they drain themselves emotionally, hoping she will eventually appreciate them. But the truth is simple. She cannot appreciate what she never had to work for. This moment changes the dynamic. Your value becomes more visible. Your presence becomes more meaningful. She starts seeing you as a man who is capable of walking away, not someone she can keep on standby. And this realization, even if small at first, starts shifting her behavior. She becomes more alert. She becomes more curious. She becomes more aware that your attention is not guaranteed. 3. How her mind starts working against her. Once your silence settles in and she realizes you are not chasing, her mind begins to work in ways she did not expect. This is where female psychology becomes very real. When a woman has time to think without your presence guiding the interaction, her thoughts begin to run in different directions. Some of those thoughts are emotional, some are logical, and some are driven by insecurity she never shows on the surface. This internal shift is powerful because it happens quietly and privately, long before she ever reaches out or reacts. Her mind starts replaying your conversations. She starts noticing the things she ignored before. The tone you used. The moments when you were patient. The times you showed interest. The effort you made. When you were talking to her consistently. She never had to think about these things. She had the luxury of just receiving your attention without questioning it. Your silence removes that comfort and replaces it with a feeling she cannot easily shake. She begins comparing you to other men in her life. She thinks about how quickly others chase and how easily they fall into predictable patterns. Then she looks at you. You were present, consistent, and attentive, but now you are not playing that role anymore. This comparison makes her aware that you are not acting like men who lack options. You are acting like a man who knows his value. That alone can trigger both curiosity and confusion in her mind. She also starts asking herself questions she did not ask before. She wonders if you lost interest or if you are talking to someone new. She wonders if she made a mistake by not giving more effort. She wonders if she misinterpreted your intentions. Her mind goes through these thoughts because silence makes people reflect, and women reflect deeply when they feel uncertainty. Even if she pretended not to care before, the absence creates a space she cannot ignore. Another thing that happens is anticipation. She expects you to break the silence at some point. When you do not, the anticipation turns into concern. Not emotional pain yet, but concern about what this silence really means. The longer it lasts, the more her thoughts turn inward. Instead of focusing on what you did wrong, she starts focusing on what she could have done differently. This mental shift is important because it changes her perception of the dynamic. You are no longer the man putting in all the effort. You become the man she has to think about, the man she has to consider, the man she has to figure out. And this change sets the stage for her next emotional response. If you are ready, 4. When she feels the loss of your presence. As more time passes, the silence stops being just a disruption to her ego or her expectations. It starts becoming something she actually feels. This is the stage where your absence begins to hit her emotionally. Not dramatically, but quietly and steadily. When she no longer has access to the energy you used to bring into her daily life, she begins to notice the difference in how she feels throughout the day. This is where the loss of your presence becomes real. Your presence is not just your messages or your voice. It is the sense of connection she felt when you were consistent. It is the emotional warmth she received from your attention. It is the comfort she got from knowing you were there. When all of that disappears, she starts recognizing just how much space you were filling. And this realization often catches her off guard because she did not expect to feel anything when you pulled away. She starts feeling a certain type of emptiness in moments where she used to expect your attention. Even if she never showed excitement openly, she felt your presence in ways she never fully admitted. Women can hide their interest very well, but they cannot hide the reactions they have internally when someone they were used to suddenly withdraws. She may not say it out loud, but she starts missing the consistency you brought. The good morning messages, the check-ins, the conversations that made her day feel more predictable. She notices that things feel different now, and the difference is uncomfortable. This is not yet longing, but it is an emotional shift that pulls her attention back to you. 5. When curiosity turns into pressure. At this stage, her curiosity about your silence begins to grow into something stronger. It is no longer just wondering why you stopped talking. It becomes an emotional pressure she feels inside. This pressure shows up quietly first. She checks her phone more often. She thinks about replying to old messages. She wonders if you posted something online. All of these thoughts build momentum until she feels a real internal pull toward you. This shift usually begins when she starts imagining what you might be doing without her. She begins thinking about the possibilities she does not want to think about. Maybe you found someone else. Maybe you realized she was not giving enough. Maybe you simply moved on and never looked back. These thoughts are uncomfortable because they force her to view the situation from a different angle. In her mind, she is no longer in control of how things unfold. The pressure grows because she fears that your silence might mean the situation is changing permanently. There is often a moment that triggers this emotional pressure even more. She might be scrolling through her phone at night and realize she has not heard from you in days. She opens your chat and sees the last message you sent. The gap between then and now suddenly hits her. She begins thinking about the things you used to talk about. She remembers the energy you brought into the conversation. She realizes she has not felt that same energy since you pulled away. This moment pushes her curiosity into a deeper emotional space, because now she is not only thinking about you. She is feeling the difference your absence creates. This is where insecurity begins to show up. She starts wondering if she misplayed the situation. She considers whether she should have been more responsive, more appreciative, or more open. The pressure builds because she does not like the idea of losing a man who once valued her. Even if she acted distant before, She did not expect you to step back so confidently. That confidence creates pressure because it makes her question her own value in the situation. Her mind begins to move faster. She thinks about reaching out, but hesitates because she does not want to appear needy. She thinks about posting something online to get your attention. She thinks about asking a friend for advice. All of this is driven by the pressure of not knowing what you are thinking or feeling. She wants clarity, but she does not want to be the first to make a move. That tension sits inside her and grows. 6. When she starts questioning her own value. Once the pressure builds inside her, something deeper begins to happen. She starts questioning her own value in the situation. This is not something she will admit, but it is one of the strongest internal shifts your silence creates. When a woman is used to receiving your consistent attention and suddenly loses it, she naturally begins to look at herself through a different lens. She starts wondering what she did wrong and why the dynamic changed so sharply. This stage is powerful because it targets a part of her that many women try to protect. Their sense of desirability, their sense of control, their confidence in how much influence they have over a man. When you stop talking to her, it challenges all of that. She starts thinking about the way she responded to you. She looks back at how distant or casual she acted. She realizes there were moments when you were giving more than she was willing to admit. Her mind starts telling her that maybe she should have handled things differently. She begins questioning whether she was too dismissive. She wonders if she took your interest for granted. She considers if she made you feel unappreciated. These thoughts do not come from guilt. They come from the fear that she may have pushed away someone who actually had value. Someone who was genuinely interested. Someone she did not treat with the level of respect he deserved. She also starts comparing herself to the possibility of another woman. This part hits harder because women understand the competition. They know how fast a man can attract someone new when he carries himself with confidence. When she imagines you giving your attention to someone else, her mind does not take it lightly. The idea that another woman might now be receiving what she once had access to triggers insecurity she cannot suppress. Your silence makes her confront something she rarely wants to think about. The possibility that she is not as irreplaceable as she believed. The possibility that you may have realized your own worth and decided she did not match the level of effort you were giving. This is a psychological shift that changes how she sees both you and herself. She starts thinking differently about your value because your absence forces her to see it clearly. This stage is important because it often pushes her toward a decision. She can try to regain her sense of control by reaching out. She can try to reinsert herself into your life to restore the confidence she lost. Or she can wait, hoping you return, while the insecurity grows stronger. Either way, the questioning does not stop. Your silence has already created an internal reaction that changes the direction of the dynamic. 7. When she tries to pull you back. This is the stage where her emotions, her thoughts, and her insecurities all meet, and she finally feels the need to act. When a woman tries to pull you back in, it is rarely a random decision. It comes from everything she has been feeling during your silence. The ego hit, the curiosity, the pressure, the insecurity, and the fear of losing you all push her toward a point where doing nothing no longer feels safe. This stage often reveals a lot about her true intentions. Some women reach out because they genuinely miss the connection. Others do it because they want to regain the sense of control they lost. And some do it because they do not like the idea of a man forgetting about them. As a man, this is where you need awareness. This is where you need to be honest with yourself about what you want and how you need to respond. When she tries to pull you back in, she may not come with a dramatic message. Sometimes it is something small. A random check-in, a subtle question, a harmless comment, a reaction to your post. These small moves are often her way of testing the waters without exposing too much vulnerability. She wants to know if your silence truly means you moved on, or if you will still respond the moment she gives you a little attention. This is where men need to be careful. Many men immediately fall back into the old dynamic. They respond with excitement. They start chasing again. They forget why they stopped in the first place. And the moment they do this, the power shifts right back into her hands. The attraction drops, the respect drops, and the pattern repeats. This is your moment to show growth. If she tries to pull you back in, take a second to evaluate the situation. Ask yourself why she is returning. Is she coming back because she sees your value now, or because she wants to feel validated again? Is she trying to reconnect, or simply trying to fix her ego? You need to pay attention to her energy. If she is putting in effort, being consistent, and showing genuine interest, that is very different from vague, weak attempts to keep you around. This is also the moment to hold yourself accountable. If you stop talking to her because you were tired of being the only one trying, do not go back to doing everything while she does the bare minimum. If you want something real, you need to maintain balance. You need to let her invest. You need to let her show through her actions whether she truly values you or not. When you stop talking to a woman, you do more than create distance. You create clarity. You force her to face her own feelings, her own intentions, and her own value in the dynamic. What many men do not realize is that silence is not passive. It is active. It is powerful. It forces reflection and reveals truths that words alone can never expose. A woman who seemed indifferent may suddenly start thinking about you constantly. A woman who seemed confident may begin questioning her own choices. And a woman who thought she had control may find herself trying to pull you back in without even realizing why. The truth is controversial. Most men are taught to chase, to pursue, to never let a woman feel distance. But what if the real power comes from stepping back, from stopping the constant validation, from letting your absence speak louder than anything you could ever say? Silence is not manipulation. It is a tool for clarity, both for you and for her. It separates those who value you from those who only value attention. It reveals the ones worth keeping and the ones who are not ready to meet you halfway. I want you to think about this in your own life. How many times have you been the man giving everything while she remained unbothered? How many times have you chased a woman who never noticed the effort you put in? Silence is the wake-up call you never gave yourself before. It shows you who truly appreciates your presence and who does not. I want to hear your experiences. Have you ever pulled back and noticed a shift in her behavior? Did she start showing a side you never expected? Share your stories in the comments. I will read them, I will engage, and together we can unpack the truth of how women react when a man steps back. This is not just about attracting attention. This is about understanding dynamics, setting boundaries, and realizing the power you hold when you stop talking and let reality unfold. Your silence can teach her more about herself than anything you say. Use it wisely.